Good morning. It's 10 o'clock. We'll call this meeting Wichita County Commissioners Court. Everyone please rise. At this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner Beecham to give the invocation.
Pray with me, please. Good and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you this morning and just ask for your guidance and your wisdom, Lord, as we conduct the business of the county. Lord, it's probably the most important meeting that we have all year. Lord, I just pray that you would give us all the wisdom to do what's right. Lord, to just conduct our business to the best that we can. Lord, I pray for those that are in harm's way, Lord, that you place your protecting hand around them. Lord, we just pray for our great nation, Lord, that we would continue to be the great nation that leads the way in freedom and honor, Lord. We just love you and thank you for loving us. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thank you. Y'all join in. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Take seats, please. Okay. I would open it at 10:01 for any public comments we might have. Anyone in the audience or on the phone? Okay. Hearing none, I will close it at 10:02. Okay, I'd like for the court to take consideration of the consent agenda and correct an item. In item 25, it should be Department 409 and not the EMO Department 406.
Okay, Judge, item 7 and item 8, I would like to amend how it reads. The motion to file is rejected on both of those items.
Okay.
So you're rejecting both of them?
Rejecting both of them.
If you just remove them,
Yeah, either way.
if you,
Remove
just
7 and
helps
8.
us track. So, or we can remove 7 and 8 either way. I'm fine.
okay.
Judge, motion to approve the consent agenda with the changes that have been noted.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Mahler, second by Commissioner Fincannon to approve the consent agenda as stated with the correction in item 25 to show Department 409 and the removal by Commissioner Beecham of items 7 and 8. Any comments, anyone in the audience here or on the phone? Okay. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, good. Item number 1, general business, is review and approve the regular bills for payment. Order the county treasurer to disperse payroll and bill payments within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the treasurer's office.
So moved.
Second.
Any comment by anyone on these items? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. I want us to move on down and take up item number 4. Wait a minute, Chief, y'all are going to stay the whole meeting or go ahead and get rid of it? Okay, I was going to say, get rid of your items you need to. Item number 4 is discuss, consider, take action on the following. Item A of 4A is discuss, consider, and take action on the maximum salaries section within the proposed 2023 budget to include any additions and changes. It's add an increase of 5% for employees whose salaries are under $50,000, and add an increase of $3,000 for employees whose salaries over $50,000, and a salary increase of 7.6% for elected officials. A little further explanation, there are salaries in there greater than those percentages where we made, I'd say, targeted adjustments based on market competition for those people, especially in some of our professional categories. Any comments or questions about that?
I did have a question for Kurt, if I could. I simply just don't understand, and I was mowing yesterday, and it crossed my mind. How do we increase in your departments, Kurt, and the state do they have to buy into that increase? Like on the increases that we give, are they like a partner in that, or how does that work?
You're talking about my juvenile department?
Yes, and then basically, there's adult probation. Is there any change there?
Well, adult probation is totally state
Okay.
operated.
Okay.
And administrative judges will set those salaries, but it's based upon the amount of income that we have from the state and their collections for the CSCD. So it really doesn't have
Okay.
anything to do with whatever the county does on any type of salary increases. As far as juvenile goes, so I have, all my detention staff are county funded positions.
Okay.
Now, my probation staff, there's more than half of them are state funded positions. We have 11 probation funded positions in the 10570 budget. Typically whenever the county gives an increase in that fund, the salary fund, the county doesn't pay for the increases to the state funded positions. They're still county employees. They're not state employees. They're county employees. But I'll just have that money within my state budget to bring up to whatever the juvenile board allows based on our salary scale. So it doesn't, you're typically not giving salary increase money for the state funded positions. I have that in that state budget, which I have to marry these two budgets because the state budget comes into effect September 1 as it just did in the county budget in January, so I have to do some math. But,
Well, that got on my mind, and I couldn't quite get my mind around how that is applied.
thankfully, in the juvenile world, we've been funded enough in the with that juvenile budget to be able to do that. If we ever came short for some reason, or if I didn't have it, I might come and ask for some consideration. But I don't really see that in the probation side of it. We're financially very, very sound in the probation budget.
Commissioner, just to help your mind a little, we actually do not approve a line item budget in juvenile. We approve an amount of money.
Okay.
And then the juvenile board is responsible for determining the budget.
Allocating it.
Yes, sir. Okay. Anything else on item 4A? Then I'd like to take action on that to have a vote on 4A, unless you all want to group all those together for any reason. We usually get an
We'd probably be
individual.
better off
Get
to
them,
separate
okay.
them. It's
All right.
gonna take longer.
Okay. Could I have a motion to support 4A if there's no additional comments?
So moved.
Second.
Any other comments, anyone? Okay, we have a motion to approve the item as stated by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. 4B is discuss, consider, take action on the maintenance and operations section of the proposed 2023 budget.
And what amount is that? Do we ever,
What's in your budget?
okay, there's a difference in the budget compared to the difference in the agenda today.
Not,
In
no.
the M&O.
We found that penny that was missing. It was listed under permanent improvement.
Is it
But-
481296, Judge?
So now.
No,
The what now?
yeah, we're not that far down.
We're not.
Well, I thought that's what the,
What you're looking at is not the tax rate for M&O, you're looking at the total expenditures under M&O.
budget
Oh,
is.
the
Okay.
expenditures.
I got you. I got you.
Did you have anything in there you thought we ought to take out or leave it all alone? I mean, we've been up and down the
I'm
ladder a
pretty-
lot
I'm
of
pretty-
times.
I'm pretty good with
It's-
that, with the budget.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, that's
and the only thing that I think is a floater is that we do have allocated that penny for permanent improvement, but we can't spend that penny for 2 years.
Correct.
And we're gonna tax for that penny, but we can't spend that penny. We've got way too much money to spend in front of it
With ARPA.
with ARPA.
And I'm leaning more toward, I'd just soon suspend the permanent improvement penny for this year at least and concentrate on spending our ARPA money on our permanent improvement.
The only thing I'm gonna say is when you spend your ARPA money, you've still got some carryover in projects. And the idea, we've always tried to have that fund be sufficient to handle those, because you've got your ARPA money designated and spent. The idea of having that penny there gives you that roughly $900,000 that you're gonna have towards the next projects when you finish those out. Otherwise, you're gonna then delay them doing that. We've had that penny in there for the last 3 years. I'd strongly advise against that.
Right now, our permanent improvement fund is roughly, can you tell me, Cheryl, what it is right now? Fund balance.
Well, what it is right now and what it's gonna be the rest of the year,
You know,
you've got a considerable amount of that obligated.
what's encumbered, or actually not encumbered, just obligated.
Oh, we've got 10 million easy obligated.
Yeah.
On permanent improvement or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or
between the tax
spending it
office,
with?
That's
Spending
ARPA.
it with ARPA money.
Yeah, ARPA.
That's, I'm,
both.
Both. Not all of that
Not all of it's
qualifies for ARPA.
Qualified, so, I don't know what things might come up outside of what you've already designated in ARPA. I mean, if there's something that you wanna reallocate with ARPA, you're gonna have to come back to court, so.
We've got
You know,
Sure.
if we have a major repair, you gotta make sure you've got funding for that outside of what's been allocated for ARPA.
What are we setting on in excluding any ARPA revenues, just in permanent improvement account?
Just looking that up right now, because ARPA is in its own fund, so I can't take ARPA and just stick it in 401. We're tracking that all separately. No, we're at. We're at less than 3 million. Permanent improvement currently.
Gentlemen, the only thing I can say is, you've been looking at this for months. That question should have been investigated, looked at farther, because we've had the same figures moving along. Do you have something specific you want to do on that, Commissioner, remove, or you want,
What?
I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, I've said it 9 million times. I'm just not a proponent of taxing for money that we don't have any plan to spend.
we do have.
We don't have, Judge.
Not for
We've
this
got
year,
$10
we
million
don't.
of ARPA funds that we've not touched
Okay.
$7 million of, and we've gonna run out of time to spend it all, but yet we're gonna tax Johnny the taxpayer for something pie in the sky. And
We have taxed that one penny traditionally have it there for those unanticipated and anticipated needs.
I'm okay with that. I'm certainly fine with that, but we've seen permanent improvement be of a lesser value than $3 million. We're adding $1 million on top of $3 million, and then we're gonna do it again next year to take it to $5 million, and there's still no plan. We just wanna have it there.
We
And-
don't have currently anything in the budget to spend that money on, so why are we gonna tax the taxpayers for something we're not planning on spending?
Well, we started out that project with $15 million before ARPA came along. It was a $15 million construction plan.
The majority of the courthouse project is out of permanent improvement. The vast majority of it. And then we also have the plans to replace air handlers within this building at a north of 100,000 per unit. So that would be fully out of permanent improvement.
Mike, do you have an encumbered sheet or only an expenditure sheet?
On this project?
Permanent improvement.
I don't have anything like that.
You just have the expenditure sheeted?
Yeah, for 401, the ones that are ARPA, we track the projects, because that's what we put that in. With the current tax proposed and the current projects proposed, fund balance at the end of 23, I assume everything's actually gonna get spent. Those permanent improvement projects seems to be growing in expenditures, not getting cheaper, so we're gonna be at like 250,000 at the end of 23 in fund balance.
That's if we don't do
Y'all do
anything.
change orders like every week. You do?
Yeah, well,
Also, I'm trying to say, we've gone over this stuff a number of times, and
It seems like we deal with a different number every time we do.
Well, Judge, I'd like to say one thing, because we've gone over it, we have gone over it, we've listened to your proposal, but because we can't really talk amongst us to work it out because of the open records deal, we can't really hash a lot of this out until right at the end. No disrespect, and I'm not being disrespectful at
No,
all.
I don't think
It's
so.
just the way our system's designed, we can't sit in an office and
Okay.
talk about this, so this is our only time to talk about it. Our numbers came in, our budget, proposed budget has been changing up until this last week.
but the proposed projects and permanent improvement and what we've talked about have been available to you for at least the last 2 Fridays. We missed a Friday because some of us were at that conference, but we have kept Fridays open as it doesn't matter, but tell me specifically, if you're gonna change that, then what are you taking out of the plan?
What I look at is, when I asked Cheryl I think it was this last Friday, our fund balance, we are encumbering 11 million this year out of our reserves. Last year before that, it was 22 million. So I asked, my question was, so you're saying that out of the general fund, we gained 11 million? And that's a lot of money to be going up in your savings account. So if that's the case, that was going by our budget, so if our proposed budget every year is gaining us money into the fund balance, then maybe we really need to look at what we're taxing the people.
You didn't gain that kind of money in fund balance, isn't that, Cheryl? That's being offset because some of those expenses are gonna be ARPA, and we'll transfer that money in.
Yeah,
Right.
the 11 million is excluding ARPA, so.
Yes.
That was fund balance addition, is what she said.
That is what's coming from reserves to balance the budget.
It's not fund balance. Do you have a preliminary number from 21 of what was, we didn't go down, we went up.
Yes, so in 21, our fund balance in the general fund was roughly $30 million.
But how much of an increase was that over?
Over 20.
Over 20, $5 million.
Okay, so, that's Usually we don't make that kind of money. We-
No,
Yeah, but-
usually,
But Cheryl, we went from then 22 million to 30 million.
yeah,
So,
That's,
most of that, like 18 million is ARPA.
22 to 30.
Let's see, he's talking about 22 coming out
Oh,
of
okay.
reserves. But we're doing, in 23 of what's coming out of reserves, there's like 29 million, but 18 of it is ARPA. ARPA and special revenue funds, which you can't touch special revenue funds because they can only be used for specific items. So while they are budgeted as required, they can only be used statutorily for a specific purpose. So it's,
But that 5 million from 20 to 21 didn't come out of ARPA money.
no, that's a gain in fund balance.
And let's back up to the question we're on here. The PI deal seems to be the discussion. Am I to understand, at the end of 23, if we take the projects that are ear tagged out of that our fund balance at the end of 23 will be somewhere in the neighborhood of 250,000?
That is correct.
Okay, that's a number, all right. Sometimes we get going, Judge, and we go from here to here, and I gotta write all this down, because
That's
it's pretty
But
simple math.
Fund balance and permanent improvement.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, that's transferring in $10 million from ARPA. And that's to, so
Cover.
so the penny would shore that 250,
that's with the penny.
why would
that's
we,
with the penny.
but
That is
Cheryl,
with
why
the
would we
penny.
spend the permanent improvement tax dollar before we spent the ARPA dollar?
Because ARPA can only be used for specific items.
But
So
don't
anything
Tim-
outside of the ARPA requirements has to be spent out of 401.
But isn't $10 million unencumbered
We have
of
used
that?
some of that lost revenue in other areas. Not all of that 10 million that we are given to permanent improvement that are allocated for that is just lost revenue. Some of it has to be specified for like an HVAC system or, you know, a way to make it more COVID, you know, friendly, things like that. Like tax office, I think I can sell that, but they may say no when I send it off. They may say, no, that's rejected, that doesn't meet the qualifications per ARPA to use, so then we're out that money.
Which is basically true of all of it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Really.
Now,
That's why
we
I've
feel
justified
pretty clear on
tracking
water
it.
projects.
Yeah,
But, you know, like the water projects are very specified in the ARPA.
right.
As far as permanent improvements, it's a vague area, but HVAC is one area, that's why I know I'm good there. As far as the rest of it, I think I can sell the tax office because we are spreading it out. But some of that, a lot of that first floor renovations, that's not gonna be ARPA outside of lost revenue. So that has to be lost revenue and whatever we put in 401.
See, in some of the conferences we went to, they discussed that construction and remodel is back in as an approved project.
If it meets specific requirements. You have to apply for it if it's over a certain dollar amount. You have to show that it meets for some COVID protocols, things like that. It's just, or you can use lost revenue. Lost revenue doesn't really have a specification because it's government services. But anything outside of lost revenue, you have to meet definitions and you have to apply for it. And I have to basically sell a good song and dance.
And we're what, on the fourth rendition of final rules?
Yeah, and I think there's probably another one coming.
Yeah, I was gonna say, number 5 is probably in the process.
Next question, back to the PI deal,
Yes.
permanent improvement. And I think we've decided that if we go with what's proposed, you're still the $250,000 fund balance ending 23,
Yes,
give or take.
yes.
Does that include the HVAC projects we're talking about?
That's what's in the budget.
Yeah, that part's included in that $10
That's in
million.
there. Well, I wanna make sure, because sometimes we, like, oh, well, we forgot to put that in there, so, okay, that's
But
good.
just know that if that is the case, then the year that follows, you'll put 900,000 in, we'll have roughly $1 million in permanent improvement, and it would basically assist.
Yeah, we're not doing away with the program, we're just wanting to delete the penny for this year. And that's important, because I'm a big fan of the PI deal, it's served us very well for many years, and we need to keep it funded. And we've also used it somewhat as an emergency program, and that, to me, that's one of the most important functions. You get into something that, once again, you lose all the HVAC in this building, you you got somewhere to go get fixed and move in a timely fashion, that's important. No,
Well, it's your most flexible fund other than 409.
it is, that's right. So we're not going away from it, we're just trying to decide where we're gonna fund it for 1 year. All right, thank you, that helped. Well, I don't know if it helped very much, but it went a lot of fun. I may have overspoke, but.
Okay, someone have a proposal to make on that?
This isn't to set the tax rate for it, this is just to approve the budget.
Yeah. Well, what I
As
mean is,
stated.
what are you gonna, theoretically, you're gonna eliminate something if you're not gonna do that. Or you can wait until the tax rate and change it then.
Question I have for you, is everything on that permanent improvement that we're budgeting for, can it all be completed in 23? Or is that gonna drag out to 24 and 25?
I bet a bunch of it will.
A lot of it's gonna be completed in 23. I mean, I can't give you an exact, I'm at the mercy of whatever the contractors are able to do.
And the suppliers.
Yeah.
This courthouse project's taking a lot longer than
Well,
anticipated.
The courthouse project
Yeah,
in
which is the
general.
biggest,
But is that including
component of
what
this.
projects in the courthouse project? I know the
Every-
elevators, but
everything
the
that's-
courtrooms, the clerk's office, the,
no courtroom.
no.
No courtrooms yet. No.
And that's something else.
That's what's going on the first floor, that's the demolition, that's the north wall, the 2 elevators, at all.
Demolition on 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So Judge, I understood you to say that if we.
It should all complete.
If we don't fund that penny, we need to take something off as a project, but really, what we really talk about first of all is what can we roll over as an ARPA expense?
Yeah.
Isn't that correct? I mean,
Well,
wouldn't necessarily have to eliminate it, but you gotta get it qualified for,
and that's, as I said, we've had 4 final versions of those rules. Number 5 we know is being discussed. And the rhyme or reason from one change to the other is not necessarily,
Have we had anything denied yet from ARPA on
No.
the application?
Not currently, but we
No.
haven't had a lot of permanent improvements in there, it's all been,
well, and we've used good diligence too. I mean,
We
we've tried
have,
to go up through it.
but,
yeah.
I mean, largely what we've reported are the water projects, the food truck, the premium pay, the CSC bond office that we started, which is 573. We haven't really, I haven't submitted for any permanent improvements yet because we don't have any completed projects yet.
We feel what the law library and the Zoom rooms attached to that are ARPA
Probably, yes.
eligible as a component of what's going on in the courthouse. Not a lot else. Unless we put the HVAC on.
The HVAC, I think I can sell the tax office, but
Yeah, the tax office, that's a separate project. though.
it is,
And that
and that's one
that
that
hasn't
hasn't
been
been started yet.
finalized. Yeah.
But we haven't completed any sections within a project yet, so I can't file for that.
What I think we do to get kind of, and we can adjust this in the tax rate, because I don't think you've got, we've done this, when we got our 25.6 million in ARPA money, if you all recall right, we came up with about $28 million in possible projects. So we know that ultimately, and we had to say at the time, we don't know what's going to qualify to come out of the 10 million or out of the 16.5. So we were trying to leave money there to take care of whichever way that went. It's just, my only thing is we've gone on week after week after week, and then we come in the last 2 minutes of the game, and we're gonna change uniforms. That kind of throws me. But as far as this item, we're not tying a dollar value to it. It's just whether you're approving that in concept, and much of that's not in the M&O. In the permanent improvement, it's mostly maintenance and operations that we're doing there, but,
Well, if you take care of the projects that we've talked about, and I know it's difficult sometimes to know exactly what all that includes because it's a moving target. And we still come up at the end of '23 with $250,000 in the permanent improvement fund, we've been successful. I mean, we've done what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be $1 million, but it's $250,000, that's, we're not out of business. So we could function either way, and that's what I worry about. Can we carry on our mission? Can we carry forward and do what we're supposed to do as county government? That's my
Well,
litmus test.
the only thing I'm saying, when you look into 250,000 in '23, you're either gonna tax for it, if you have some, you're gonna do it. I'm just saying we've kept that level, but
It's been a good program.
let's take action on this as the item is stated, it's not setting the tax rate. And you comfortable with that?
Yes. Motion to approve maintenance and operations section of proposed '23 budget.
Okay.
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 4C, discuss, consider, take action on the proposed capital expenditures section of the proposed 2023 budget.
So moved.
Second.
Wow.
Keep moving, keep moving.
I didn't see that one coming. Thank you. All right. Any other comment or discussion on that? That one's not a real big item, so it was easy. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 4 is discuss, consider, take action on the 2023 budget preface and policy section to include changes and additions.
So moved.
Second.
So that says we're gonna, whatever we decide today, that's gonna change to that. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, and you've been given those in bold print, and really the only
I have,
thing on that was since the first filing of the budget was to add the statement, the major thing was to add the statement of, give me one of those, I think I've got.
Is that the new revised?
We're not changing the budget to meet the proposal, we're
No.
changing the proposal to meet what we.
Right, and this only was that deal of reinstating our policy for people that you've got to be on the time clock system, got to be turning in your 40 hours a week as approved by your supervisor to qualify for benefits. We've got people that aren't turning in timesheets, and this thing is serious about getting a time system that's accountable and responsible. We've had a number of different programs presented by Department of Labor people saying they, you know, I don't know if they're gonna hire 86,000 new people to enforce, that's taxes, I'm sorry.
Well, the IRS looks at 941 and payroll taxes as well, and that comes into, you know, paying people appropriately for overtime.
Yeah, I mean, this, yeah, Cheryl, as we've said, this is, it
This
doesn't
is
look real
compliant.
big, but it can get real big, real bad, and real fast.
The penalties are severe.
So, okay, on item B, it's a motion by Commissioner Watts, second by Commissioner Beecham, to approve it. Huh?
No, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Before you
I'm
Talk
losing
yourself.
my.
Okay, all right, back to what I was saying. Motion by Commissioner Watts, second by Commissioner Beecham to approve the budget preface as stated and revised. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Item number 5 is discuss, consider, take action to set the 2023 budget debt service rate for interest and sinking at .06289
So moved.
Second.
Yeah.
Second.
I think we should echo with 3 seconds.
Yeah. I think you got it first, Commissioner Beecham, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
We're good with vote if you got a first.
Okay. Any comments or questions on that rate? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Discuss, consider, take action to set the road and bridge tax rate at .03557
So moved.
No, I would like to discuss that.
I'd like
I believe we can drop that to .020 and still safely have enough funds to fund our road and bridge program. Looking at the most recent sheets that we were given by Mr. Hampton, our investments show that we're at 8.9 million as of this year. At the same time last year, we were at 6.5, so a difference between 2.4 million. If we drop that tax rate to 2.0, or 2 cents, .020, sorry,
Yeah.
it will be short, we'll be a little bit short of where we were a year ago this time.
Cheryl, you had those, recently you
300,000.
went over those fund balances for us proposed at the end of this year. What were those?
The end of 22.
Yes.
So at the end of 22, precinct 1, it's, let's see, 736,000.
Okay,
I'm sorry, that's precinct 2. Sorry, precinct 1 at the end of 22 would be 1.6 mil, almost 1.6 million.
okay,
2 would be 736.
okay,
3 would be 1.9.
okay.
4 at 729, and 5 at 204,000.
That's,
So, Mark, help me get to that $9 million.
that's based on that's strictly off the sheet that I was
Right,
given.
but y'all's
from-
biggest season hasn't started, right?
Well, we're wiping it,
We're past,
winding it
Past
up.
it
So,
now.
we're past it, so.
But that's
But
you cutting that
Still
tax
got-
rate to 2, that's only gonna give me a half a cent. And I'm gonna go at the end of my budget at 736,000. That won't even cover my budget for next year. if that's what
Mine
you're
either.
saying. Or his either. I mean, we don't have that kind of fund balance that y'all have.
Well, that isn't your fund balance.
I mean, I know, but we don't, they got twice as much fund balance as
right,
You got
so at
precinct 1 does.
the current rate, the current budget and the current tax rate at the .3,
We're still
you would be
showing,
at 672 at the end of 23, so you spent everything.
I mean, I still wouldn't, I mean, I don't mind you wanting to
Typically do.
lower the road and bridge tax if you wanna lower it your own precinct, but I don't have an extra, you've got almost $1 million more than I do right now, so I'd say, for me to be able to meet my budget,
it's the one area that we can lower and lower without much risk, because we are setting, according to the sheet, if the sheet's correct, we are setting on $8.969 million in assets.
Yeah, but according to Cheryl, that's not where you're gonna be at the end of this year.
Well, I'm not finding the 8.6. Is that the current number?
That's as of end of, close of business July 31, 22.
So basically the current number,
Current number, yeah.
not projecting
Yeah.
ahead. That's my question.
And looking back at 21, we were at 6.556. So we've had an increase of 2.413.
That probably serves Seacoast money.
Yeah, a lot of
one,
it is.
A lot of it
21.
and last year,
But we've
too.
continued to grow our balance in road and bridge year after year.
But I do think a lot of that was grant money.
It is. So if we were to lower to the rate proposed by Commissioner Beecham, at the end of 23, precinct 1 would have almost 1.4, 2 would be at 326, 3 would be at 1.6, 4 would be at 256, and of course precinct 5 doesn't get any of that, so it's scheduled to be 0 at the end of 23 period.
and that's
But then, where does the revenue come from to fund the proposed budgets?
Out of reserve.
You would have to pull from reserves.
And it'd be
yes.
additional transfer of funds.
Yes.
Now, I may be misunderstanding, Cheryl, but you've given me, here is 3.5 and another 1.5. So I can see $5 million at the end of the year. But all that I have, it takes roughly $4.5 million to fund 1 year of road and bridge, roughly. So where would I get the other money from? If I go to 2 cents, I'm only raising $1.8 million.
Right, you're gonna have to pull from your fund balance, your reserves.
But is there dollars that you're seeing above those numbers you just gave me?
Not all of your revenue comes from ad val tax.
No,
Right.
no. A small amount comes from fines and
It is
fees and
small.
road and bridge tax, or not road and bridge tax, but the
Fee.
car tags
Yeah, these are fund balance numbers
that you gave me.
And Cheryl, last year's road and bridge budget was 0.04.
the tax, yes.
Yes. So this year, we've already proposed a lower tax rate.
Right, that lower
Yeah,
tax
the
rate is
adjusted
the
rate.
no new revenue
No
rate.
new revenue. It's the same money, Mick.
Okay.
Same money.
It's the
So
same,
all that
yes.
percent, basically.
But what I had noticed is that in mine, that I was basing our budgeting in '21 based on $1.3 million worth of revenue, and that revenues came in at 1.1. And so we saw a decline in those fines and fees because of just the state's inaction on forcing people to pay up. So,
In '21, your revenues were actually 1.3 million. And then your actual expenditures was 570,000 roughly.
what was
That's because You
22?
had all your grant.
Yeah, you got
got
all
all grant money.
grant, right, so the grants, the extra expenditures for your department are actually sitting in the grant fund.
And what was the 22 revenue?
So '22, you are projected to have just less than $1.2 million. I don't know where we're sitting at, let's see, year-to-date, we are at, as of June 30th, year-to-date, though, we're at almost 1.1 million. So I think we're probably gonna be pretty on target with your revenues for '22.
But I still budgeted 1.3 again, based on my,
Yeah, probably. Currently, at the end of June, your expenditures were only 600,000.
The numbers at the end of '23 of 326,000 and 256,000 trouble me a little.
Me a lot.
That's getting back pretty thin.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'd like to go ahead and second, yes.
And what I look at that as is if, once again, I'm not a doomsday guy, but I live in the real world. We have some kind of a major event, and we've gotta go in and get people moving Wichita County, and we need to be able to do that. Boy, that 250,000 is not a very big, that troubles, those numbers do.
Yeah, we're still sitting on 8.969 million in road and bridge, according to this.
Today,
Right.
If this is correct,
but we're out of grant funds.
Yes.
yeah, but there's no way we're spending $9 million between now and next year.
Okay.
It's the area where we can more safely reduce. We don't have
Yes,
near the
and
exposure.
remember, the general fund can supplement the road and bridge. The road and bridge cannot take their special road and bridge tax and give it to the general fund. So that.
Although we did one time.
good, I
You
mean,
can use
even
the
with,
you can use fund balance that doesn't come from the special road and bridge tax, but the special road and bridge tax can only be used for road and bridge
Okay.
operations.
But that was a loan, and that
Long
was,
time ago.
yeah.
We're sitting on 611,000 in precinct 5 that we have to dissolve into the other precincts as well.
You could divide it between 2 and 4.
Aren't
Like
we
that.
already committed with some of that on that?
We are, we've got
Yeah.
it distributed.
Yeah, you are.
Yes.
Your equipment.
So we only have about, we have 200,000 going into 23 roughly.
Yeah.
The rest of it's been committed.
Okay, I think we have a motion now with a second. Commissioner Watts, yours was to make it 3 cents, is that right?
To make it what it's
What's on
proposed
the-
on
keep
the
it.
agenda.
Keep what's there, okay.
He wants to keep the net revenue.
Okay. Any comments, anyone in the audience? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon, to approve the road and bridge tax rate at .035571, which is lower than last year's rate. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1. Item 7, discuss, consider, take action to set the maintenance and operation rate at the proposed rate of .476, actually that should be .48, because the permanent improvement fund wasn't included in that number, that 1 cent.
No, Judge,
It is.
Okay, 476939 for the constitutional funds, I'm sorry, and .035571 for the special road and bridge tax for a total of .512510. Okay, item 8 on that then, discuss, consider, take action to set the M&O rate at 0.476939 for the constitutional funds and let's vote on 1 first.
well, let me back up a
Okay.
minute. Constitutional funds, the definition of constitutional funds.
That doesn't include the road and bridge rate. That is M&O and
It's just
INS.
general and permanent improvement, because there's no statutory requirement to allocate to permanent improvement. It's all general fund. We are electing to use part of what would go to the general fund to the permanent improvement. So,
So it's that plus the R&B.
and then the total M&O is R&B, general, and permanent
INS.
improvement, because debt is listed out separately. It's
Yeah.
got its own calculation.
So what is the purpose then of item 8 if a person then establishes the rate in item 7?
Procedural. Because once you voted on all of those others, number 8 is that total amount.
So if you wanna make any changes, you need to make it 7 or,
Uh-huh.
Or forever hold your peace.
Or
Yeah.
really 6, 5, 6, or
Well,
7,
I would,
combined get to number 8.
I'll just get on with the program here. I make the motion that the constitutional funds be set at .46194 for, then combined with road and bridge to give you the new total M&O budget.
with a total of what, Jeff?
That would throw the new total of .56048, different than what's set out in item 8.
So lower it.
.56040.
.56040.
Well, if you take a percent off, wouldn't that,
Okay, so you've already,
I
okay,
would-
so,
Proposed to lower it 1.5 cents.
lowering
yes.
The overall,
the overall?
without changing the budget.
So you've already set road and bridge, debt, and permanent improvement, so this would change the general fund portion to .451939.
Okay, we've gone through all this, telling you all the increases in that fund. You didn't consider anything with even a more obvious balance in road and bridge. And now we want to reduce the revenue by over $1 million in the general fund.
That'd be roughly 1.35.
Yeah. What,
Because we continue to grow our fund balance year over year to.
that same thing
That's
applied to
what I
Road and
said,
Bridge
Road and
too. I thought Commissioner Beecham did a good job of explaining that.
Yeah, but our road and bridge don't hold a candle to the general fund.
Well, no, he doesn't hold a candle when it comes to his overall obligations either.
We can't because we don't have the money. We'd gladly spend it if we had the money.
So with the current proposed rate, not Watson's rates, the judges proposed, the end of '23, if everything were spent, general fund would have almost 5.8, road and bridge would have 5 million. That's a pretty big disparity considering general fund pays for way more operations than road and bridge does.
But Cheryl, again, if that scenario played out, we got lots worse problems than this budget. Because we would have dipped into our kitty of roughly $25 million,
So,
which has not been our intention or habit. We corrected that. We overcorrected that problem. And that's where we're at.
and I don't know if there's been any history that we've ever done that this court's ever done that.
True, but it only takes one time.
Right.
We have had negative years in my time on the court.
It's been a while. I mean, there were very lean years back in, what,
2008.
2008. Oh, for sure, 2008.
But it all-
6, 7, 8, and then started to, you had to build it back up. I mean, we went, almost 5 years without pay raises
Yeah.
after,
There was a time when we were concerned about the limit, was the tax rate limit, because we were approaching.
Yeah.
well, this had to do with unfunded raises, unfunded things that came our way that we didn't budget for and didn't save for.
This all
Then
boils
we
back
spent
though
years-
to taxing the people for what we need to run the government, for what we need to run the county government. And if our fund balance, like Jeff's saying, is increasing every year, then maybe we don't need to tax them at that rate.
But you still haven't met the suggested amount of money to have in the bank, and, which is anywhere from 3 to 6 months. We're on the
We're on the
upper end,
bottom.
we're on the bottom of that.
And I don't disagree, I like a strong fund balance for the county, but it boils down to taxing the people. The people right now are sick and tired of tax.
You've gone 2
I'm
years
one of them.
without,
Right,
Well,
but
we've
we're not
gone
going
2
this
years.
year without a tax raise, we're just discussing how much we're gonna raise it.
Yeah.
So even with Commissioner Watts' proposed rate, if spent, everything's spent, and that's what I have to look at. I have to look at if everything was spent, general fund would have $4.4 million. It would have less in general fund than road and bridge. So, I mean, your scenario is correct about taxing for stuff that's not getting done. If your road and bridge fund balance is $5 million,
But
you're not
if
getting that
you're
done.
also talking about road and bridge as one fund,
That's
and it's
true.
not, because we're separate funds. And I don't wanna be stuck at the end of that either with
And that
$300,000.
that rate can be allocated differently, and this court has done that, where it wasn't 25% to each precinct. It's done it in previous years where those with healthier fund balances got less revenue, and those with less healthy fund balances got more in order to bring those fund balances a little more even.
We did that, but my number on road and bridge in 23 is more like 3.4, I'm not sure where you're finding 8.
I have
hope
5.
you're right.
I have 5. I don't know where 8 came from.
3.4 is the math I've got here, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it's not going to have more money in it than the general fund by any means.
We have
And
a
again-
lot less liability cutting the road and bridge tax than we do cutting general.
Cheryl, help me understand, last year, or this year, we used $22 million worth of fund balance to balance
Most
the
of
budget.
it's, yeah, most of it is, a lot of it is sitting in 409, so probably is not going to get used, hopefully.
But this year, $11 million.
So we cut a lot of expenditures and, you know, we tightened up our expenditures list, basically.
But-
$11 million?
Where is the 11 million?
It's probably contingencies, actually.
Where is the other 11 million?
Okay, we had, for the 2 years in a row, we had 5 million extra in a very optimistic
Yes.
or not really a pessimistic look at 409. Had a considerable amount of money, and then we put 5 million in there those 2 years, not knowing what the economy was gonna do, not knowing what was gonna happen, period, but we had it, so we didn't have to go back and declare an emergency to move that money out. So that's where part of that came from. We, you know,
But you're following my question. 22 million of fund balance balanced the 22 budget.
The expenditures, yes, we over appropriated,
Okay, but in 23, we're only using 11 million.
yes, so we cut a lot of appropriations.
But that means you left 11 million then sitting in the bank of unfunded fund balance. And so if you finish 23 and spend all that encumbered, you're only spending $11 million less 5 million for fund balance.
So that doesn't equate to 5 million left.
I'm not understanding that math.
Maybe.
So going into 22, yeah, I mean, fund balance for the general fund is 30 million. Going into 22, you have expended, we budgeted to spend 59, almost 60 million. Currently, we've only spent 22, but we budgeted to spend 60 million. That leaves us 16 million going into 23. So we're gonna use 11 of it,
We're gonna encumber 11 of it.
yes.
We're not gonna use it
No,
necessarily.
we are encumbering it, yes.
but you could.
Right.
But we
Not
don't.
likely.
I see what you're
If you
saying.
spend the budget,
Right.
yes, we have been operating on the premise that we've never spent the budget, but again, if you give it to the department heads and the officials, they can, and I can't do anything about it. Yes, a good chunk of that is in 409, and that does leave it to you guys, so
So
that does help.
If last year, if we'd have spent all our budget, we'd have lost 22 million out of
Yep,
our
we would.
reserves,
Yes,
which would have been detrimental. I mean, we've been,
yes, and
We
that's
did.
how I have to look at it, is that
but
you spend.
that being said, even though we encumbered 22 million, we still came out with a higher fund balance than we did the year before. That goes
I
back
don't
to
remember
what-
how much was in 21s, but yes, we did grow from 20 to 21, $5 million, and from 2019 to 20, 3.7 million.
I'll second Commissioner Watt's motion.
Okay. And
And what
give me
was that
rate.
number?
Yeah, let's.
Point.
What was the
Okay.
number?
Let's get that.
The constitutional fund number would be .46194.
0.46194.
Yes, so
And-
it would bring the general fund number to 0.451939, permanent improvement at 1 cent.
Okay, that's rolled in because permanent improvement is
As part of that number.
Local
to get-
fund.
Yes, I'm just giving.
it's
you
not a
the breakdowns.
designated
So,
constitutional fund.
correct, so 0.461939.
39. For a total M and O of,
Total M and O would be 0.497510.
97510.
Okay, let's vote on item 1 first. Motion by Commissioner Watts, second by Commissioner Kincannon, to approve the rate of 0.46194 for the constitutional funds. Any other comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. 4-1. Opposed. Okay, item 2 is to,
I don't know what that rate would be, Judge, because I struggle to get to. In my mind, I saw item 1, 7A1 as the M&O rate.
Would be 497510, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, because
That's what
it's,
you
it's
just told
permanent
us.
improvement, you have to, I mean, a road and bridge.
right here.
So you got your M and O, constitutional is general fund plus permanent
Yeah.
improvement. And then total was those two plus road and bridge at the 0.35571.
Only 49 cents, just 2 quarters.
Okay, so that new rate would then be 0.497510, which is total M and O, which is the inclusion of the general fund M and O and the road and bridge M and O.
Everything but debt.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
It's everything but debt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you said everything but that, and I was trying to figure that one out. Okay. Is there a motion then to support that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Muller to approve the total M and O budget. Any comment or questions? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 5-0. All right. Now, item 8. Cheryl, do you have that figure for us?
I do. It is 0.560400.
56.5000.
0.5604 is the short version.
.5604.
Zero, zero. So moved, Judge.
Wait a minute, say that again. I'm figuring-
0.560400.
Which is, can we get, what's the percent increase or decrease?
It is, Mark, your no new revenue was 0.5408, and your current,
1.96 cents.
Less than 2 cents.
And that was a second behind.
Okay, any other comments or discussion on the proposed rate of 0.560400? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Fincannon. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Let's go back and we have Mr. David Graf from Wichita County Extension Service here.
Morning.
Thanks, sir.
Paperwork.
I'm about to learn, Brother Graf, that AgriLife may require more paperwork than some other things.
We just needed to do an update, kind of what we've been doing, and in the last few months, it's been a while, seems like, since we've been in, just to talk specifically about that. Before I kind of do the update, we've got our wild hog training and meeting this Thursday. And if you're aware, the USDA has had the trapping program that's been doing on the 4 counties here along Red River, and so we're kind of getting an update on that. But just talking to the guys, they have had unbelievable success in trying to control those. And I don't have the exact numbers. That's what we're going to learn Thursday. I say tonight it's during lunch that day. But anyway, looking forward to that. Also, we had talked with a number of farmers, and one of the problems that we deal with is using herbicides in that to help control the weeds. And we're talking about thousands and thousands of acres that these guys work with, and ladies in that. And so one of the problems is, what do they do with these pesticide containers at some point? And so we've been working with a collection place where you can bring those in at no charge. And right now, we're looking at probably a little over 120 of those totes that we have people available. And so when I get a more specific date, which I'm waiting on a call from them, but I think we'll have some more that'll be coming in for that. Few things that we've done recently, worked with Texas Department of Agriculture. We actually did a pesticide waste disposal day, and we had about 64,000 pounds of product that was brought in. No questions asked. You just bring in what type of waste that you need to get rid of, which is really a huge issue because we have people that we don't have a way to do that. We don't want them dumping it in rivers and creeks, bring it to the city landfill. So we're appreciative of that. I had a fish pond management session. We've had a number of calls about that. We had a session, we've been working really hard based on what our ag committee wants, is helping connect what agriculture does in connection to our food and to medicines that our humans use. So we've done a number of different issues with that. We did one with the leadership of Wichita Falls, and we had a couple of our cattle producers, Linda Thorman and Stan Kimball. And what we did was just try to explain to the group what actually that they do as a producer. One of the things, and actually Stan is enrolled in the certification process that helps certify exactly how those cattle are handled. They're handled humanely. We talked about just the minimal amount of medication that they're used. Stan Kimball's, their ranch, they have over 800 cows, and they probably have less than 1% death loss. Therefore, you're not using antibiotics. And so that's one of the things that's partly genetics, as you can sort through that, but also just in the care that you take of them and keep them healthy. We did a internal parasite clinic and then also worked with some producers here, because that can be a real issue, particularly when we've been in this drought, which I don't know that it's broke, but we have had some rain. But when those livestock are really under stress, then parasites can really make a huge difference. And so we're doing some work on that. We're going to continue that. One of the things, we've done a number of things with our youth, not particularly 4-H, but we did a career fair with the Wichita Falls ISD, and had about 150 kids stop by. It's actually is a booth here, and you've got a number of people like the Army, Air Force, all of those each have them. But one of the things that we did was I just used tools to help attract them to our booth, and we had a drone, and we had some tools I used in veterinarians. Also, a local couple here producing their own food and then selling it across the United States, selling it dehydrated. And we've got a lot of interest in that, growing your own food, and then also as entrepreneurship. So that's something that we're really working on. We did an Agapalooza with Jefferson Elementary, had about 200 kids in that. We actually had our 4-H kids bring in some of the livestock that they raise, just talk about what they do, show the kids, explain what they do, show them how you can check for parasites level in checking the eyelid, talked about the teeth. A lot of them didn't know that they had teeth, which is surprising to me. We also had a 4-H kid that usually he presents himself as Dr. Be Healthy, wears his frock, has a little stethoscope around his neck. And then what he does is we'll have several props, like I'll have some cow bones, the scapulas will be this long. And one of the things that he helps do then is help relate to them how bones are used by humans. Also, we've got a replica of a little heart that we get from Dr. Palmer, and talk to him about the valves that we use from pigs and also from cow valves. So that's just one of the things that we try to get across the kids, that it's agriculture impacts us every day. We also have had a couple of sessions with Campfire during their summer camp. Talked a little about gardening, also the same connection with agriculture and food. Had a pecan tree management session. We got a lot of calls about pecans. Boy, our drought has really been working this over. Mr. Brown here at the back said we have talked some about that. We got our youth gardens that have been working with Heather Simpson. Our Better Living for Texans and our Master Gardeners have been working on that. Burke Boys and Girls Club, Kidwell Elementary, and also YMCA. They've had some events there. And then one other thing in 4-H, one of the things we do every year is we have to do what we call validation, and we help certify which animal is with each kid, not just 4-H, but FFA as well. And so we do that for the state shows, which will be this coming spring. We validate the cattle, and right now, we're back in June, and then also we validate for the state fair. One project that we had was a Cross Timbers commercial steer program, and in that case, we had 5 kids participate. And in that case, they actually bring these steers in. They weigh about 700 pounds. Then they feed them for about 4 or 5 months. And then when they bring them in to sell them, they're around 1,100 to 1,200 pounds. And so those kids have to learn how to feed that. And it's not just dumping some feed out. You have to be very specific in how you do that in order to keep those cattle gaining and growing without bloating, without having some issues. So one of our kids, Cooper Smith, was behind a vigil for quality grading. In other words, that steer, first of all, he had good genetics in that animal, and then secondly, he fed it properly, because the trick is to try and get as much marbling so it gives it the most flavor, and then also has the lowest amount of fat on that carcass. And so Cooper they did a great job. And so that is tough. That is very tough to do. And then one final thing is we've been working with the chamber, and we did a Wake Up Wichita Falls, which is an event that they host every month, and we did it jointly with Vernon College. And what it is just to come and go, people that are interested, particularly just to try and learn more things about the county and the community. And we just had a couple of tables. The 4-H agent had a table, I had a table, and then also our Better Living for Texas. And we just lay out some items to try and pique their interest, and then also just to explain some of the programs that AgriLife Extension presents. So really a lot of interest in that as well. But those are kind of the highlights. I've listed those. We appreciate y'all's support.
Busy activity.
Is that all, David?
I got good co-workers too working with, so we're lucky. We have a good team. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
You bet. Thank y'all.
Okay, item number 3 is discuss, consider, take action on approving the purchase of an Atlas 412-12,000 pound capacity commercial grade 4-post lift from Tooltopia at a cost of $7,499 plus freight to be paid from the LEC bond funds. Commissioner, is that you or Chief?
That's Chief.
Chief?
Yes, sir. This is be for the, one of the bays on the west end of the LEC. Currently, when we had to look underneath the car, we put it on jacks and going into the creeper, and this by far is a lot safer for officers to do. Guys, when we're searching these cars.
Does that include installation costs?
That's, no, there's no, we're still going to have to add the electrical. This will be the installation. We'll install it ourselves, but we'll still have to have electrical hook up to it. So we'll have to run a 220 to out there.
Do you just bolt these feet to the
Bolt
floor?
them into the floor. Yeah, we'll drill holes and bolt them into the floor.
Well, isn't that like you have?
Yeah, those 4-posts are generally portable. They can be.
We'll mount it permanently.
Which is not bad, you can do it
What is a 220? I thought
It's a
it was-
220, so,
It's not pneumatic?
yeah, that's gonna be 220, so we'll have to have Willen come out and run the electrical for it.
Or need a 30 amp circuit.
Yes, 30 amp circuit is what it takes.
Good brand name, Atlas is a good brand.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Approve, or I'll take a second.
Any other comment, question by anyone on this item? Okay. Call for the vote then. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, receive any update on the courthouse and elevator projects and law enforcement center, Commissioner Beaker?
Still pretty much the same as last week. We did have our ADA walk at the annex this previous week. Everything was good. We had a pre-construction conference on the annex project as well with, it was very well attended by all trades, so a lot of interest in that project. Well, hopefully that will result in good bids. Everything here at the courthouse is still moving. We're still having issues with the demolition crews robot not functioning. They got it all put back together and it still didn't work. When they contacted the factory, they had forgot to remove a couple of plugs, the way it was explained to me, so they had to tear it all back down again. So it's demolition still going slowly, but it is moving. Litigants keeping it moving. Beyond that, that's pretty much it. Everything's just continuing on.
Good deal. Thank you. That concludes the vision, the mission of the court today to carry out the agenda. And gentlemen, thanks for the good debate on the tax issue and the victory for the citizens, and that we were able to lower that rate from the proposed rate that the crazy old county judge made. But at any rate, no, I'm happy with it. We'll work fine from that. It just will make things a little bit tighter. Cheryl, you'll be able to take and adjust that, make that 50% from
Yes.
fund balances that will move into that.